there was something else to tell.
At what point in your tour of Tokyo and all the various toilets and things did you realize you had the potential for a single feature film?
It was so good to be back in Tokyo and to live the moment when the people of Tokyo, after the longest lockdown in history, came back out of the pandemic and joyfully, and to see that this joy happened with such a lot of social responsibility, whereas in my city of Berlin, the beautiful little park where I live, after 2 weeks at the end of the lockdown, was destroyed. It was a garbage heap. And it seemed to me that in Europe, the huge victim of the pandemic had been the sense of the common good. And I realized in Japan it was very much alike. And as much as people partied, they would pick up every bottle and every cigarette butt and every piece of paper and carry them home to throw it away. So I loved it, and I realized there was some other story, and there was some bigger story than just toilets. And they stood for something I saw, and then I thought I'd talk myself out of the job and told Takuma, instead of a number of short films and the architects and their creations, there was a bigger story. And I thought I'd talk myself out of the job, and Takuma smiled and said, "Oh, wow, do you think it can be done? Let's do it."
Takuma, you really said it. So what did you see, and how did your collaboration with them work on developing this as a screenplay?
I'm sorry.
That's Takuma. How did this collaboration work between the two of you in developing the screenplay here?
まずビムが僕らよりも深く日本を理解していることにすごく驚きました。
I mean, first I was just really surprised that Vim understood Japan maybe even better than we do.
彼と会話することで僕たちが忘れてたものを思い出す作業というか、ずっと思い出してました。最後に書いてあった木漏れ日も彼と会話しているところで思い出したフレーズです。
So really the conversation was around sort of remembering the things about Japan that we knew were wonderful, that we really loved, but we had sort of forgotten. And so it's the same for the Komorebi that you saw at the end. That was a concept that we were reminded how wonderful it is through Vim's eyes.
Yeah. It's interesting too, because you've made films all over the world, Latin America, all through Europe and different places, not just your home country of Germany and things. That interests you as a filmmaker to explore different areas of the world and the way they work, and you discovered something completely different in Japan, culturally.
First, I discovered it before I ever went there in the movies, because I saw for the first time movies by this, for me, unknown Japanese director Yasujiro Ozu in New York in the 70s. I thought I knew Japanese cinema because I knew Mitsubishi and Kurosawa and everybody, but I'd never seen a print of this director named Ozu, because the Japanese had never exported them, and because they thought it was too Japanese. And then I saw by chance 4 of his films in Japan. I have to tell the story. Thanks to a Brooklyn housewife. She saw movies by Ozu in the Japanese Cultural Center, and she then started to send letters to all distributors in America, especially in Los Angeles, that they had to show these movies. And of course, she never got an answer back from anybody, but the little independent producer, New Yorker Films, saw the letter and got the letter and realized he never heard of the name, Ozu, and he went to the Japanese Film Institute to look at these movies and realized, wow, and got the rights to these 4 movies. And then he was also my first American distributor in the 70s, and he said, "Vim, you gotta look at this. This is gonna change your life." It did.
And we asked this before, and I'm gonna ask again, how many know the great filmmaker Ozu? Look, these are the smartest audiences in Century City. This is that's terrific.
They drank a lot of that.
Yeah.
Smart water.
You are also collaborating here with one of the great actors in the world, not just Japan, but everywhere. He's done so many great films, from Babel to Memoirs of a Geisha, some of them that you would know here that got released. But why was he perfect? Because did you not write this with him in your head, with him in mind?
When Takuma went for my idea that we should change the idea of documentary features on the toilets and the architects to a story, he realized